Welcome back, friends, and a very, very lovely evening to all of you. Good morning to you, and good afternoon. And today we have anatomy of ego, again, a very, very important topic. The lesser the knowledge, the greater the ego. Ego is neither good nor bad. It's just a result of lack of self awareness. It fades away as you become aware of it, since ego and awareness cannot coexist. You can either be a host to God or hostage to your ego. It's your call. Thank you so much, and over to you, Shreyans.
Right. Thank you, Rashri. Thank you so much. So beautiful. So welcome, friends. I hope you had a good meditation and I can see the messages on the chat. So thank you so much. So friends, today's topic is different facets of ego. We are going to understand our ego from a very deeper perspective. And the thing is, since we never understand our ego, everybody says, drop your ego, drop your ego. And we don't know how to drop it because we have never understood it well. And today, tomorrow, day after 3 days, I'm going to take you into different facets of ego so that we can understand it well. And once we have the distinction, then it's easy to disassociate. It's easy to drop it. And so ego. What is ego? Ego is a voice inside which says, "Oh, I am superior. I am inferior. I deserve this, or I'm undeserving. So this, or somebody else is undeserving." So we can know that there's a voice, something which always keeps you keeps the judgment alive, right? Or I need to prove something, or I'll be failure if I don't prove it, or people will like me only if I achieve something. I need some validation, maybe especially with our social media. So ego, what does this ego does? Ego always keeps us trapped in the surface level of reality. Sometimes we are not able to go deep and connect with our true self, our expanded consciousness, because we are usually trapped in the surface level of reality. But the truth is, we are all spiritual beings. We are all spiritual beings, came here to have a human experience. But as we come here to have that human experience, we forget that we are spiritual beings. We forget that we are that expanded consciousness. We are much more than our body. We are just much more than our identity or our personality self. There's much more than our name. So the ego, but the ego keeps us, and while we needed this ego to grow and to survive and to move ahead in life, but then over a period of time, we feel now this is the only identity I have. This is the fullness of me, which is there. But the truth is, we are much more than that. But the ego keeps us trapped in this surface level of reality, and also gives just superficial happiness. So we think we are happy for the time being, but then that happiness goes away it's very short-lived, right? And then again we need something else. So I'm going to talk more about what are different facets of ego, the anatomy of ego, the different traits of ego, the different personalities, the roles that ego takes, and the ego traps. So I'm going to cover all this in next 3 days. And but the beauty is, once we learn how to shed our ego, that is when it's like a caterpillar turning into butterfly. So shedding, a lot of times, once we are scared to shed our ego, because we feel if we shed our ego, we will lose our identity, we will lose ourselves. But the truth is, when you lose yourself, you experience the true self, which is that expanded consciousness, which is when the caterpillar turns into a butterfly, which is where you experience Brahmasmi, I am that. I am that one life, that one consciousness that pervades the entire universe. And that takes temporary form. And we only take the temporary form to experience itself, to experience itself, that consciousness itself as a stone, a blade of grass, an animal, a person, a star, or a galaxy. So, so we came here to experience life, to learn lessons, to evolve, to grow further, right? But the ego keeps a trap that this is as we are born till we die, as if this is the only life. We have lived many lifetimes. We have lived many lifetimes. But we become so fastened with their identity in this current moment, in this current lifetime, as if this is the only lifetime we have, as if this is your only identity. Right? But the truth is, we have lived many lifetimes in different ways, in different countries, in different shapes, in different genders, in different financial conditions. Sometimes we are rich, sometimes we are poor, and all types, different, because and the soul needs those different experiences to grow, to evolve, to expand, to live the whole fullness of the life. Yes, next slide. So what happens is, when we were born, the first thing we were given is our name, right? And initially we didn't even realize, we didn't even understand our name, but slowly we start understanding our name. Oh, this is me. And that's how we start identifying our ego. Oh, this is me. This is my name. Somebody's calling me, this is my name, right? And then as we grew, then the name turned into a toy. Then we identified, oh, this is my toy. If somebody takes your toy, you start crying. If the toy is broken, you start crying, right? So, and that's how we started. Then as we went to school, I'm in this class, I'm in that class. So everything starts with everything. We start identifying with things, right? This is my father, this is my mother, and that is where ego played an important role, right? So ego was important at that time. And so ego is not wrong, ego is not bad. So it plays an important role to give the identity. How will we survive in this world? How will we live in this world if we have no identity? So we need ego. So ego does not mean that we lose our that we cannot have our identity. But the problem starts when we become so identified with that identity, as if that's the only thing we have, right? So and as we grow up, then we start we are hypnotized to believe that that identity lies actually outside of us, through our friends, how many friends you have, how much money you have, what kind of a car you have, how much popular are you on social media. So all these things, what kind of a job you're doing, what kind of business you have. So all these things, or how do you look, your looks, your body, everything becomes your identity, right? And then we start so much identified with all these things that we forget that this is a temporary role we are playing. We forget that we are that expanded consciousness, which is much more. So the truth is, the truth is, what started with the toy or a car or then it moves to design, the house, designer labels. Designer labels, products, they're all identity enhancers. We believe in this brand, because if you're wearing that brand, that means people know that you are rich, you can afford this brand. It enhances my identity. We start believing that I am what I have, right? but the truth is, by labeling me, actually we are negating ourselves. By labeling ourselves, we are negating ourselves. That I is reducing us. Rather than saying, it's my wealth, we should say I am the custodian of this wealth, right? Because this is not, because when you vacate this body, you're not going to take this. So while we enjoy this wealth, but we are only the custodian of this wealth. When you say, rather than saying it's my home, the truth is we are the caretaker of this house. So how do we identify? So let me explain you the anatomy of ego. So ego has two parts. One is the content and one is the construct. So let me first talk to you about the content. As I've explained you, the content is the things, right? So the things are, as I told you, the toy and the toys. I started with toys, cars, house, designer labels, products. All these things are, we all know, tangible. What we can see is tangible things, Then, the thing is, everything what we see today is actually revolves around these things. Even in terms of even the economic parameter, if you see the whole economic growth parameter is based on consumerism and capitalism. If the country is growing, the whole benchmark of country's growth is based on how much are we consuming the products, how much are we producing the products. And that becomes a social conditioning. We are conditioned to acquire more and more, because the more we acquire, we feel the more we strengthen our ego. We think the bigger we are, the higher is our social status, the higher we are, the better we are in the society. So and this has been conditioned. We've been educated like that, right? We've been educated for greed. We've been educated to acquire more and more, how to make money, how to learn, how to enhance your identity. Everything moves around that, right? So while we need to honor our world of things and not despise them, it's good. There's no problem with the things. So it's not that we have to despise them or no, we have to negate them or to abstain from all this. What I'm telling you is not abstaining from anything. While we enjoy those things, we honor our world of things, not despise them. But there's a difference. From an enlightened perspective, from an evolved perspective, there's a difference. So let me. So I'm going to. So there are two parts of the ego. One is content, one is construct. So content is things. Then second content is the body. Body is our gender, our appearance. We think, oh, we are so good looking, or we are ugly, or somebody else is ugly, or I'm ugly in comparison to this person, in comparison to my brother or my sister, in comparison to my siblings. So beauty or ugliness in relative to others, or my physical strength or weakness, or I have a healthy body, or I have a problematic body, my pain body. We identify with all these things, right? So this is again the content. And because we identify so much with our outer body, we lose our inner body awareness. We forget that that there's a doorway out of this prison of this physical body, and this and then we can, when we anchor in the present moment with the meditation, we have the spiritual body also. We have that much more expanded consciousness. So, but we identify with this body. So one is the one content is things. Second is body. right? Now, so and the third content is the form. So the form is all kind of social. The form is all kind of social position you have. Your reputation. Now that is intangible, right? You can't see that. You can't touch it. Things and body is tangible, but form is intangible. Your social position, your reputation, your physical ability to do things, your nationality, your religion, all that identifies you, all that makes you what you are, right? I am an Indian, I am a Hindu, I am a Jain, I am a Christian. So all these things, I am the president of this organization, or I hold such position in my company. So all the social positions, I'm amazing reputation. So whatever your social position, reputation, your physical ability to do things. Oh, I am a dancer, right? So your physical ability, your nationality, your religion, your social media status, all these are all forms, right? These are all intangible forms. I am here, I am what I do, I am what I accomplish, or I am what others think of me. So these become our recurring primary thought forms and conditional mental and emotional patterns that are invested with the sense of I. Right? And as we grow up, we start developing these patterns, and then it becomes a recurring primary thought forms. Right? These patterns become conditioned in our mind. And we think it's so natural. It's not, we don't even realize it, right? And it's not just a mental pattern, it's also an emotional pattern. And that are invested with everything, with the things, with the body, with the form, and that becomes me. All these things becomes me. Now, there's another part of the ego. There are two ego's conditioning is twofold. One is the content, one is the construct. Right? So the construct is the identification. And now it can be, the identification can be, so it could be two things. It could be physical or psychological. So things and body is physical and form is psychological. So the construct or the content or the structure is identification. So this identification identified with the things, body and form. So the content is interchangeable, but the structure remains. Content, the things can keep changing, right? The forms, your forms can keep changing, but your identification remains. You always keep identifying with those things. You always keep identifying with your body, with the form. And that identification is that ego. So as I told you, there's no problem with these things, body, form. But the moment we start identifying with it, we see ourselves in them. My car defines me. My house defines me. My reputation defines me. My social status defines me. Once that starts defining me, because I identified with that, and I'm so grossly, so tightly identified with that I feel that is me. So the construct is the identification, and that's what that means. Identification, identify in Latin means my. It's a Latin word, identification. Identify means my. The moment you say the word my, it is mine. Right? Then it becomes, then you see yourself in this. So the identification can be physical or psychological. So while the content is interchangeable, but the structure remains, the construct remains, which is your identification. And the ego always survives. So ego arises, and ego always survives on identification and separation. So one is your identification, and secondly, you know that it is separated that it is separated. You separate yourself from everything else around you. Who am I is separate from everything else around me. Shreyans is different, Rashri is different. And I am also separate from what's missing in my life. I am separate from God. God is outside of me. I am even separate from the things around me. That's why I need to own it. Otherwise, I'll lose it. So the root belief of all false belief is the belief in separation. That you and I are separate from each other. And ego thrives on separation. So ego arises when your sense of beingness of who I am, which is formless consciousness, get mixed up with that form. Get mixed up with those things, body and form. So once a visitor visited the house of a Sufi saint, and in the house there was no furniture, absolutely no furniture, and there was no place to sit also. So the visitor asked, where is your furniture? The Sufi asked, where is your furniture? The visitor said, but I am only the visitor. Sufi said, I am also a visitor. He says, I am also a visitor on this planet. So as you are a visitor on the planet, so as a visitor in my house, so likewise I am also a visitor on this planet. So we forget that we are all visitors. We are all visiting. We're all visiting this hotel called Planet Earth. Somebody asked Raman Maharshi, a seeker asked Raman Maharshi, how are we to treat others? He said, there are no others. So it is the ego which believes in separation, which believes in identification. And then accordingly we develop our thoughts. And our whole thoughts moves around that, right? So our consciousness is like an ocean, but our thoughts are like the stream of waves or ripples on the surface. It is very ego-driven. The thoughts, the waves or the ripples which are on the surface, those thoughts are very ego-driven. But the truth is, we are consciousness. We are the consciousness. Enlightenment is when that wave realizes that it is an ocean. The wave thinks it is individual. It has its own identity. The wave forgets that it is also the part of the whole ocean. So Rashri, I'll go to the next one chapter. Now, the next part is ego traits. So
Yes.
Far it's clear.
Yes, I can just ask you one question, please.
Yeah.
One, if we are known by our nature, that is also ego?
Form. We're known by a form. That is a
like
form.
A person is known about his...
Of course.
Okay.
That is a form. Again, there are three parts, right? One is a body,
thing,
and form.
And form.
Form is intangible. So our nature is intangible, right? Our nature, our reputation, our social status, all these things are intangible.
So that also hinders the path. Like, is it ego?
No, it's not about how others. That is what others perceive us, right? But
Yeah.
how we perceive it becomes our ego.
Okay. And then when you say God is out, and then you say Aham Brahmasmi. So
that's what as an ego we believe that God is outside of us.
Okay.
That is the ego which believes that the God is outside of us.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's how that's what even we start believing it, right? So we go to the temple to say, oh, the God is outside of me.
Yes.
Forget that God is within us. Right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
That's what Rumi said, right? I searched in temples, I searched in mosques, I searched in churches.
Mm.
But only when I looked within, I found the God. I found the God within me.
Yes.
But the ego always believes in separation.
Mm.
That's why we think even God is outside of us. And that's why the ego is reducing us. Our ego is limiting us. It is fastening us.
Mm.
But once we do the identity, once we stop that identification, the second part of the ego was identification. We identify with the body, we identify with the form, we identify with the things. Once we drop our identification,
Mm.
then we are free.
Mm.
Right?
Yes.
So now I'm going to explain more in detail. So probably you'll get, everyone will get more clarity now.
Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And one more thing,
Yeah.
that if we are meditating, okay, we are meditating every day, everything as per whatever, and then will we drop our ego completely?
But it helps you. It helps you. It helps you. That's why meditation and mindfulness, right?
Yes. Awareness.
Meditation is the act of dropping ego because you become nobody, you become no one. That is the only time when you lose your identity.
Yeah.
And that's why we start with losing our identity.
Mm.
So that we experience that expanded consciousness.
Yes.
And once you experience that consciousness, you know your true nature, you know your divinity. Then you never go back to the old self.
Yes.
Then even if you find happiness outside, but you know that my true happiness was within me, that joy for no reason was so beautiful. Then that conditional joy, that
Yes.
was so temporary, that lasted only for 1 hour, 2 hours, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So let me share with you the next part of the ego is the different traits of ego. So what are the different traits of ego? So different traits are uh, here. I've jotted down around 16 traits of ego, right? So you can see the slide. So ego, so complaining, resentment, grievance. I'm going to go one by one on all the traits. So so let me go. Let me start sharing with you one by one, right? So ego loves complaining, right? So ego loves to complain about everything around you, because that gives you an identity. When you're complaining, so that is the basic nature of ego. So these are all different traits I'm sharing with you. Name calling, shouting, screaming, even physical violence, right? All these are the traits of ego. Because when you complain, you make yourself a victim. And ego loves that, because that again identifies your ego. That there is something and I'm suffering. So when you complain, you make yourself a victim. The mind unconsciously loves problems. The mind unconsciously loves problems because it gives you an identity of sorts. So to complain is always non-acceptance of what it is, right? The resistance to what it is. And that's why then you complain. You don't accept things the way it is. And that's why you are complaining. You go on a holiday, you go to a beautiful hotel, and your room, they give you 2 hours. It takes you get 2 hours. Your room key you get after 2 hours. You're promised, like you were given, you'll give you. You're promised that you'll get the room key by 12 o'clock, but you got the key at 2 o'clock. Now you're very angry. Now you're very upset. You're complaining. What is this? So where is that coming from? That is coming from, and now you're really upset. You planned that holiday since last 6 months. You are with your beautiful family, your friends. but now you're so upset. So what is that coming from? What is that complaining coming from? From the ego. Because ego gives you an identity. Eckhart Tolle says there are only three things we can do with the situation. Either you accept the situation, second, either you change the situation or leave the situation. All else is madness. Accept it, change it, or leave it. All else is madness. So complaining is completely madness. Accept it, change it, or leave it. Any situation, either you can accept it or change it or leave it. All else is madness. So now I'll go to the second trait of the ego. So first is complaining, second is resentment. We carry so much of resentment with people or situations. So we make, and why do we carry resentment? Because how can that person behave like that? How can he talk like that? Problem is, again, identification. Whatever we are saying, whatever she is saying, I identified with that talk. Now, they may be saying in their unconscious state, in their ego state, in this state of non-awareness. But if you're conscious, you will not identify with that. But because we are also unconscious, we are also in a state of ego, we identify with their unconscious state. And once we identify with their unconscious state, now that is giving us the problem. Now you're now that's why you are feeling resentful. That's why you always want to change people or situations. How can he talk like that? But his talk or her talk is her choice. Your happiness is your choice. So don't make your unconscious state, don't make others' unconscious state your own identity. The thing is, the problem starts when you make their unconscious state your identity. You identify with their unconscious state. That's why Buddha said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We suffer because we identify with their unconscious state. That now we are suffering. Nobody dies from the snake bite. But it is the poison which spreads after the snake bite. The venom which spreads in the body, that kills the person. So whatever people said with the people situation is like a snake bite. But it is once you identify, then you spread the poison, you spread the venom with your resentment. And that is what making you suffer. The problem is not the problem. How you look at the problem is the problem. Right? So that's why Wayne Dyer said there are no justified resentments. There are no justified resentments. No matter how the person is, how the situation is, no matter. There are no justified resentments. And sometimes, a lot of times, in fact, best ways to be, sometimes you can be non-reactive. In fact, non-reaction is a way to dissolve ego. Non-reaction is a way to dissolve ego, and not just your personal ego, and also collective human ego. Even as a collective consciousness, we are so reactive. How can somebody burn a statue of my religious God or my religious leader. Now the whole tribe, the whole religion is ready to kill that person. So there's so much of collective human ego. As a nation, as a tribe, as a religion, there's so much of collective human ego. And which is so dangerous because we don't realize it. Because there are so many people feeling your same feelings, you feel it's right. Because the majority is feeling so that means you feel you are right. So your resentment is nothing but your resistance, right? And what you resist, you persist. Then you draw more of those situations into your life. And you wonder why my life is not good. So whatever irritates you about others, what irritates you about others only reflect that part of the ego that is active in you. So drop your resistance, drop the resentments. And the moment you stop identifying with their unconscious state, it will automatically dissolve. In a situation like that, just practice non-reaction. Rumi said, if you are irritated by every rub, how will you be polished? If you are irritated by every rub, how will you be polished? So by resistance, with your resistance, you harden the shell of the ego. And you become closed. The more you keep resisting things, the more you're in a state of resistance, the more you'll keep hardening the shell of the ego. While acceptance softens the ego, then you're more open to life. Then you're more spontaneous. So sometimes it is better to be non-reaction. Sometimes it is better to embrace silence. So practice non-reaction, embrace silence. Silence is a speech of a spiritual seeker. Silence does not mean that you're silent. Sometimes silence itself is your speech. It is the silence between the notes that make the music, isn't it? So every time we don't have to be reactive. We came as a creator, not as a reactor. That's what responsibility means. You become responsible for yourself. Responsibility means your ability to respond. And that's why nobody can make you unhappy without your consent. By reaction, by identifying with their unconscious state, you consented to become unhappy. So nobody can make you unhappy without your consent. All right, so now I'll go to the third part. So first part of the ego trait is complaining. Second is resentment. The third is grievance.
Shreans, 1 minute. Isn't it natural if you are going to the holiday and the room is not ready and they have told you? So isn't it natural, that feeling or that resentment? No, the natural is to address it, to talk to that person. But when you change your whole emotional state, that thing is disturbing you. Eventually, because we realize ki, oh, I paid this money. How can you not do like that? So that is the ego, right? We don't realize that this is that really you identify with that room so much that it is disturbing you so much for 2 hours. Right? So the reason you're resentful because you identified with your personality. This is me. This is Shreans Daga who came here. I am a customer. You identified as a role. You're a customer. You don't treat your customer like this. You at that moment, you took that role of a customer. What if the role is reversed? So how do you react?
So at that time, if the role is reversed, then you'll be very humble. Sorry, sir. Please, sir. But because so what determines that role is your identity. It's your ego, right? So you can say the same thing without losing yourself.
Exactly.
It's not that you don't talk about it, you don't say it, but without losing yourself.
Yes. Your state of mind shouldn't be disturbed.
Yes. Don't lose your consciousness. Don't lose your awareness. Be aware. So what is the situation? And imagine what is happening in you when you're in a state of resistance. Imagine 1 hour before reaching the hotel in the flight, you are meditating. In a state of love, joy, happiness, beautiful. I love everyone. Everyone loves me. You manifest, you visualize something. This is what I want to manifest in my life. And the universe, and that was your vibration frequency, right? And the universe is ready to give it to you. And you reach the hotel and now you're in a state of resistance. You're so angry. You're so upset. And that upset stays for the whole 2 days while you stay. Because that leads to one more thing, then another thing. And that was the time the universe brought what you wanted to manifest in your life. But now they saw that you don't have that vibrational match and it went away. And you wonder why my manifestation is not working.
Yes.
So it's not about resistance. So when you're in a state of resistance, you are stopping the flow of life. You're cutting yourself from that universal flow.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So you can do the same thing, but without losing your inner connection. And believe me, that is more powerful. A lot of communication is non-verbal. A lot of things people do it is unintentional. So things happen in life. It's okay. Take it as a test. Yes, this happened, but let me take it as a test. I will be happy in spite of this. And I practice it a lot. A lot of times when the flight gets delayed, sometimes you tend to get irritated. And I see, what is the universe? Why the flight is delayed? What is the universe? What is there to absorb for me? What is there? What is the universe? Why now I have 2 more hours? Or how can I make the best of that time?
Wow.
But if you're fighting with the air hostess or with at the reception, and you're fighting with the airline staff, there's no point, right? You're just losing yourself. So I'll share you one story, a very interesting story. I had a flight. It got delayed by 5 hours. So initially it got delayed by 1 hour. The flight got delayed by one. Eventually it got delayed by total 5 hours. A night before, I had decided that I want to have 3 meetings. When I come back from my trip after 4 days, I want to meet these 3 people. And for these 3 works, my flight got delayed. So first they said it got delayed by 1 hour. So I went into the business class lounge and I was sitting there. And after some time, the 3 person which I noted came into the same business lounge, and I met that person. Then I got to know the flight got further delayed, and I got the sign ki, oh, maybe this is why I wanted to meet this person, and here I'm meeting this person, sitting here nicely, and now this person comes and I meet him. The second person came, flight got further delayed, and the third person also came. So this is how the universe has a plan. You don't know what is the universe plan. So once you drop the resentment, if you overcome any hurdle, when you overcome any challenges, it is always hidden with a reward.
Wow.
That is the beauty.
So nice. Brilliant.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
So the beauty is at that moment, That is the challenge, right? That is make us unique.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let's make us superhuman.
So nice. Thank you. Yes.
So the third part of the ego is first was complaining, second is resentment, third is grievance. So what is grievance? Resentment carried for a long time is grievance. The same resentment started with, with some small incident which went on for 1 hour, 2 hour. The same, and then the resentment started. Then slowly it becomes your personality trait. Anything you just lose yourself. Some issue you carry on for years, and that over a period of time, then it becomes a grievance. And sometimes, we see a nation going through this grievance. Collective grievance can survive for centuries in the psyche of a nation, in a psyche of a tribe or a community or religion, and can lead to the cycle of endless violence. In the past, most of the wars which has been waged in the history of humanity has been because of religion. Can you imagine the religion which teaches you love, but because it's a collective grievance, it's a collective ego. Now we have a grievance against our neighboring country because it is a grievance of a nation. It is in my psyche. I'm born into that story. So it is in my psyche. Because we believe we've been told to believe that this is our enemy. So imagine, and so we identify with such a collective ego. Our religion, my religion is the best religion. It is this perfect and the supreme religion. The moment somebody talks about their religion, in their mind, a judgment starts. We separate them from us. So sometimes it needs a lot of honesty to see if you still harbor any grievance. A mistake repeated frequently is a decision. If you keep repeating that mistake, then it is not coincidentally, it is a decision. And when you carry this grievance, you blame others for your problem, right? And blame keeps the wounds open. Blame keeps the wound alive. It is the forgiveness which heals. And that is a part of the ego. Ego loves to carry this grievance because ego needs its identity. Ego always sees somebody from the, it's like if ego wants somebody on the other side of the stick. If you're on one side of the stick, ego always needs somebody on the other side. So it is either through complaining or resentment or grievance. Somebody has to be on the other side because ego loves separation. All this keeps the identity of the ego alive. And that's why even if there's no issue happening in your life, if you are carrying the grievance, then you will think, if you think about the same event, about the same negative experience from your past, and the body produces the same chemicals in the body as if when it actually happened. That means you relive the experience hundreds of times simply because you haven't let it go. Something happened in the airline, then you fought with the airline staff, and now everybody will tell it's a shitty airline. How can they treat people like this? What is this? It's a shitty hotel. I will never go there. Okay, don't go there, but then you keep talking. And the more you keep talking, the more you keep that vibration active in your, more you keep it active in your vibration. So that's why it needs a lot of honesty to see if you still harbor any grievance against anything. We care so much. We care so much about understanding why things haven't gone better. But we don't just let go and let our present be better. How can the person talk to me like this? How can he behave like this? We keep in paralysis of analysis. And then we carry the grievance. But then forgive, because sometimes these challenges helps you evolve, it helps you grow, it can make you stronger. So forgiveness is a wonderful tool to release the burden of this unwanted feeling towards others. Don't identify with their unconscious state. An event once forgiven becomes a powerless memory. And then it no longer generates the feeling of anger, frustration, resentment, hurt, or grievance. True forgiveness is when you can say, thank you for that experience, because it made you stronger. Forgiveness sets us free. You're not forgiving the person, you are giving them a rent-free space in your mind all your life. The moment you forgive, it will set you free. The moment you forgive, you lose that emotional charge. Right? The event once forgiven becomes a powerless memory. And memory without the emotional charge is called wisdom. But the ego loves complaining, loves resentment, loves grievance. And even when there's no issue, there's no problem, you keep looking for something. You'll find a problem in every solution. So you are the grievance. You are the grievance looking for a cause. So it's a choice. It's a choice we make. We have to make that choice. We can break the chain of pain. Right. So now I'll go to the fourth part of the ego. Rashid, 8.3. The fourth part, and then maybe we can stop, and then we can continue it tomorrow.
I think we should continue the talk.
Okay. So there are 16 traits. So I'll cover the fourth one, and then we can stop. Yeah. And then we can have Q&A, okay. And we can continue tomorrow. So we have tomorrow.
We have 3 days. Yes.
So that's why I decided that we'll take it easy,
Yeah. Thank you.
So again, the fourth trait of the ego is being right. The ego wants to always be right. I am right. And to prove that you are right, you keep making others wrong. So if you have a perspective, you say, oh, my perspective is right. No, your perspective is wrong. But a perspective is a perspective. It is not about right and wrong. It is your perspective. It is their perspective. But we don't respect others' perspective. We don't agree to disagree. No, my perspective is right. My opinion is right. My judgment is right. My story is right. And yours is wrong. Because it gives us a sense of superiority. And I'm ready to fight for it. I'm ready to struggle. I'm ready to be in that resistant state, just to say that I am right. I'd rather be right than at peace. Right? This is how we do it in a family environment also. We love everyone. but we keep fighting. I'd rather be right than at peace. What is your choice? Is it worth losing the peace? But ego talks us. Ego talks us into choosing dominance rather than tolerance. Ego loves to dominate. I am right, so then I feel dominant. So we have to identify, again, this is the ego that talks us into choosing dominance. So to make change from dominance and judgment to tolerance needs disciplining our ego, needs awareness of our ego. So start practicing, to learn to respect each other's view. When somebody sees an elephant, one different angles, people see different things. When somebody sees a tail, somebody sees the legs, somebody sees the trunk. So if you ask everybody, all three, how does the elephant look? Everybody has a different view. So learn to appreciate differences of opinion. Sometimes letting go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. But ego loves to defend. Ego loves to hang on to your truth, your perspective, your opinion, your judgment, your story. Practice acceptance. Start practicing being satisfied with what is. But we like to be assertive. Ego loves to be assertive. Ego loves to catch people doing wrong, right? Because when we catch others doing wrong, subconsciously it affirms you that you are right. Ego loves that. But then that's what, once you're aware, you can change. Right? Focus your attention on what you love about the person. Always catch them doing right. What you appreciate, appreciates. Whatever you appreciate, you'll appreciate more in your life. That's why Marshall Rosenberg said, right? Never delay an expression of appreciation. It has a terrible shelf life. While we have our own view, but we also appreciate others' view. It's a perspective, right? All situations are fundamentally neutral. We assign them meaning. And we play this game within our family, right? With our children, with our spouse, so much. I am right, you are wrong. I am right, you are wrong. So it is not the lack of love. It is not the lack of love, but the lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. When we lose friendship, they think they are right, I think I am right. And there's no common ground to accept each other's views. We still love each other, but there's no friendship now. So give up. Carlos Castaneda said, give up your personal history, give up your personal story. And when you give up, then you don't have to live up to that story. So be aware of your ego. You be aware of your, when you say, I am right, I am right. Again, ego loves that. That is your identity. You identify with your opinion. Because you identify so strongly with your opinion, now that is the only thing is right. There's no separation now. This is a complete identification with the opinion. You become that opinion. Right? You're ready to kill somebody for your God. So there are three stages of egoic relationships. So one is wanting. There are three stages of egoic relationship. One is wanting. Second is thoughted wanting. That means through anger, resentment, blaming, complaining. And third is indifference. So one is wanting. Egoic relationship always wants something from other people. Second is thoughted wanting. Now you want something by threat. If you're not getting it, you will use the threat of anger, resentment, blaming, complaining so that you get what you want. And third is indifference. You don't care now. To hell with you. So the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. You'll abandon that person. Abandonment is pessimism in action. So ego likes to defend its own truth. And you condemn other person. You complain, resent, blame, condemn other person. And then you abandon the person. But you can never solve the problem by condemning it, right? For a genuine relationship to happen, for a genuine relationship to thrive, give alert attention with no wanting whatsoever. You always want something out of relationship. It's always transactional. Give alert attention to something with no wanting whatsoever. Be interested rather than interesting. You always want to be interesting in a group, in a conversation, with a group of friends or family. You always want to show how interesting you are. But be interested. Listen to them carefully. Be interested rather than interesting. It's okay. Sometimes you might be wrong. Wrong does not, accepting your mistake or saying that accepting that you are wrong does not make you small. Sometimes it's okay to apologize. And a lot of times apologizing does not necessarily mean that you were wrong and the other person is right. It just means that you value your relationship more than your ego. You value your relationship more than the ego. You realize that it's not worth it. So it is eventually other person is, we project, we expect other person to be the way that we want it to be. And when the person is a little different, then there's a separation. Then there's a judgment. So practice this. All projections, when you're in a relationship and when you want to heal the relationship, improve the relationship, practice this. All projections, expectations, rejections, separations, and judgments I have of this person and of me based on this person, I drop totally and completely. I'll repeat. All projections, expectations, rejections, separations, and judgments I have of this person and of me based on this person, I drop totally and completely. This will give you freedom. This will give you peace. Tell the other person, I leave you free to be yourself, to think your own thoughts, to indulge your own taste, follow your own inclination, and behave in ways you decide to your liking. I leave you to be free, to be yourself, to think your own thoughts, to indulge your own taste, to follow your own inclination and behave in the ways that you decide to your liking. I have no judgments. Not that my liking could be different. I may like pizza, you may like pasta. That does not mean my pizza is only the right food. So you appreciate the differences. And that leads us to our evolution. That leads to our growth. If there are no differences, how will we grow? We love the color, the shades of colors, different colors. That brings life. So that's what makes everyone their own uniqueness. So I'll complete this. The four traits I've told about today is complaining, resentment, grievance, and being right. I want to share two videos with you, which yesterday I forgot to share. 3 minutes, 2 videos. This is by a Vietnamese master, Thich Nhat Hanh, and who passed away around 20 days back at the age of 95, who was also a Nobel Peace Prize winner, he was instrumental in stopping the Vietnamese War. So let's listen to him. So he talks about compassionate listening. When you're listening to others, listen with compassion. So let me share this video. Deep listening, compassionate listening. Without any judgment, without any projection, without any expectation, without any separation. Just you are there totally in the present moment. Yeah, you can play this. Yes.
What makes you laugh?
Anything that can help us laugh. If you talk to our young monastics, you'll find out.
You laugh? Do you laugh a lot?
Yes, we laugh, we smile a lot in our community.
You refer to, I can't remember which book, but you talk about deep listening also.
Deep listening is the kind of listening that can help relieve the suffering of the other person. You can call it compassionate listening. You listen with only one purpose, help him or her to empty his heart. And if you remember that you are helping him or her to suffer less, and then even if he say things full of wrong perceptions, full of bitterness, you are still capable to continue to listen with compassion. Because you know that listening like that, with compassion, you give him or her a chance to suffer less. If you want to help him or her to correct his perception, and then you wait for another time, but for the time being, you just listen with compassion and help him or her to suffer less. And 1 hour like that can bring transformation and healing.
So I love this idea of deep listening, because oftentimes when someone comes to you and they want to really vent, they want to purge whatever is going on inside them, people start talking and giving advice. So if you allow the person just to let whatever those feelings are to come out, and then at another time come back to them with your advice or your comments, you would experience a deeper healing. That's what you're saying.
Yes, the fear, the anger, and the despair is born on the ground of wrong perception. And we have wrong perceptions concerning ourselves and the other person. And that is the foundation for conflict and war and violence.
You've said that the only way we can begin to end war is due to communication between people.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we should be able to say like this: dear friends, dear people, I know that you suffer a lot. I have not understood enough of your difficulties and suffering. It's not our intention to make you suffer more. It is the opposite. So please tell us about your suffering, your difficulties. I'm eager to learn, to understand. You have to start like that, loving speech. And if you are honest, if you are true, they will open their heart and tell us. And then we practice compassionate, deep listening. And during the process of deep listening, we can learn so much about our own perception and their perceptions. Mm-hmm. And that is the best way, the only way to remove terrorism.
Terrorism or even difficulties between yourself and
yes.
family members or friends.
Yes.
And the principle is the same no matter the conflict.
Yes.
Terrorists, anti-terrorists,
yes.
father and son,
right.
yourself and your boss,
right.
yourself and your children, your best friend.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing? Just deep listening, practice compassionate listening. It will change not only their perception, you also understand your perception. And I'll share one more video of him, which is since we just had Valentine's Day. So let's see how, let's see what he talks about in a loving relationship. Yeah, yeah. He gives us the 4 mantras to practice in a loving relationship. So let's hear his 4 mantras.
I like to talk about the mantras that you just mentioned. The first mantra is, darling, I'm here for you. When you love someone, the best thing you can offer him or her is your presence. How can you love if you are not there?
It's a lovely mantra, darling, I'm here for you.
And you look into his eyes and you say, darling, you know something? I'm here for you. You offer him or her your presence. Mm. And your true presence. You are not preoccupied with the past or the future, your project. You are for your beloved one. The second mantra is, darling, I know you are there. And I am so happy. Because you are truly there, you recognize the presence of your beloved one as something very precious. Hmm. And you use your mindfulness to recognize that, embrace your beloved one with mindfulness, and she will bloom like a flower. To be loved means to be recognized as existing. Hmm. And these 2 mantras can bring happiness right away. Even if your beloved one is not there, you can use your telephone and practice the mantra.
Darling, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And darling, I know you're there.
The third mantra is what you practice when your beloved one suffers. Darling, I know you suffer. That is why I'm here for you. Mm. Before you do something to help her, to help him, your presence already can bring some relief.
And the acknowledgement of the suffering or the hurting. Yes.
And the 4th mantra is a little bit more difficult. And that is when you suffer. And you believe that your suffering has been caused by your beloved one. So you suffer so deeply. Mm-hmm. And you prefer to go to your room and close the door and suffer alone.
Yes.
You get hurt. And you want to punish him or her for having made you suffer.
Yes.
And the mantra is to overcome that. The mantra is, darling, I suffer. I am trying my best to practice. Please help me. You go to him, you go to her and practice that. And if you can bring yourself to say that mantra, you suffer less right away.
Darling, I suffer. Please help me.
Please help me.
Beautiful. Just listening to him brings so much peace, right?
Fantastic. So good. So,
Thank you all for the session. Thank you for your time and patience. So we can go to Q&As now. We can take it for maybe 15 minutes. And there's a lot I'm going to cover in next 2 more days. So a lot of things will be answered anyways. Yeah.
what a fantastic class. Superb explanation from your side. Thank you. Sai, Saiji, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, Shreans.
Hi.
Hi, Rajashree. And first of all, thanks to the entire team for offering this wonderful course to us. I'm from Hyderabad. I'm a data scientist at an MNC.
Right.
So before asking the question, I want to tell you the situation and then I will ask you the question. So actually, this is for my mother. Due to some problems, family problems, she is having some anxiety problem and also some stress, due to which she is having some difficulty in breathing 24/7, even while sleeping also. So at starting, it was like she used to take 1 tablet or 2 to 3 tablets a month. Now it's been like daily 1 tablet. So even while meditation, she is facing the problem like difficulty in breathing. At a time, like sometimes she gets somewhat a normal breathing situation only when she is like yawning.
Yeah, yes. It's completed fast now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is, why can she do the breath work?
Of course.
This?
Of course. That's
like she want to do for 40 days like this.
She can do it, of course. Yeah.
This is my question. And my second question is, so I'm working and also I'm preparing for some examination. So is there any tool or technique for increase our memorization power?
So, of course, meditation always helps you to give you clarity, and you'll be much more receptive whatever you're learning. So I think simple meditation is a great tool. Yeah. I mean, that's what I know. I mean, there are other classes where, like Jim Cook talks about increasing your memory power, but I am not an expert on specific that aspect of,
No, can you repeat it? Sorry. Yeah.
Jim Quick. Go to Jim Quick. He's an expert on how to increase your memory power, different hacks and tools. So he is one of the world's topmost person, and a lot of his YouTube videos are there on YouTube. Jim Quick. So I'm not an expert. But of course, meditation helps you to give that clarity, and then you are more receptive. Of course, it also increases your memory.
Got it. Yeah. And sorry, I have a add-on question for the breath work. So we have to keep somewhat high pace, not continuous, but high pace for 25 minutes, right? So my mother is like not able to keep that high pace for such a long time.
Then she can rest for a while. For 30 seconds, she can take a break. 1 minute, take a break, and again start breathing. It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Saiji. Amita Ji Agrawal.
Hi everyone. Hi Shreyans.
Hi,
my name is Amita Agarwal. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm a big fan of yours. I started meditation last year, and it transformed my life. I have to give you a little bit of a background. I'm going to be very quick about this. So when I started meditation, and the benefits that I saw, I just got into meditation and spirituality, and I listened to so many mentors. I joined workshops. So it was a very accelerated kind of a journey for me. And because of the meditation and the peace and the confidence and all that I gained, it helped me go through some really strenuous, stressful situations last year. And I handled a lot of pain with, with peace, with elegance and calm. And I was strong. And eventually, I was doing so many workshops that it came to a point that I started losing touch with reality. I started dissociating from what was going around me, because I did multidimensional beings, quantum theory, soul plan, inner child healing, transgenerational healing. So it was, all of that was it was consolidated in a very short time, and I literally lost myself. And then one of the spiritual masters, he told me that it's dissolving of ego. And it didn't make, it was so bad that I had to stop meditation. I had to discontinue everything that I was doing, from meditating every day and doing all these workshops and following everything. I had to stop, because when I would meditate, it would bring back those memories, those thoughts, and that I literally felt that I do not belong in this world. I have not got an answer for what that was. I actually got depressed. I'm much better now. I've gotten back into meditation, and I know that what I was seeking was, and I was pressured by the masters also. So one thing I do want to tell you is that the way you engage, what you teach us, what you tell us, it is so non-threatening. There is no pressure. And I really, really appreciate that. Because a lot of times spiritual masters, they make you think that this is the only way of life. And that, I think I got really absorbed in, because I needed that support at that time. So do you think when you feel dissociated with your reality and you cannot even enjoy life the way it is, I know we are souls, I'm not Amita, I'm a soul, but I felt dissociated and unattached to my family. What was that? Have you ever had anyone talk about that?
Yeah. So it's a very good, interesting phase. A lot of times we get disillusioned with everything, right? But that's why I'm more for life affirmation, life affirmative, enjoy life, celebrate life. That's why we came here. If that was the only state you wanted to be, then you'd not have come to the earth, right? And we are here to socialize with everybody, to learn from everyone, to teach others, that's how to grow together. And that's why when I'm talking about ego, it's not about, the problem is not about the things and the cards and the thing. A lot of spiritual teachings is about despise them. But I feel it's not about despising them. Despising them is like being scared of them. Or if I do not despise, I'll get attached to it. But the idea is but that's not victory. That's like running away. But then the true Buddhahood is in the market, is in the middle of the chaos, is in the middle of the crowd. That is, and when you embrace that, and when, in spite of those situations, in spite of those challenges, if you're peaceful, while embracing it, while doing those things, while accepting those things, it's not like you stop working. You're in the middle of, you're working it, you're going through those challenges and the problems, but still you maintain that inner peace, that awareness, I'm that, and you still maintain that calm and peace, and that eventually becomes a natural state. That is enlightenment. So that's why, and for God, doesn't matter. Like I told Osho, he had 94 Rolls Royce. It doesn't make it more spiritual or less spiritual. So enjoying life does not make you less spiritual. A lot of this hardcore religious beliefs is about, enjoying life means you should feel guilty about it, No, but that is the source.
No, I was present in the life that I was living, but I don't know what happened. It just, knowing that we are here as souls and that, we are multidimensional beings. And I mean, I had such beautiful experiences from going to no meditation. I was full-fledged into meditation. I guess I was just misdirected, I think. And I started feeling,
don't regret it. It's a journey, right? It's a journey.
No, I don't.
It's a stepping stone again. It's a stepping stone. So now when you come back, when you are again back into spiritual, now you know the balance.
Yes.
Imbalance teaches you balance. Right?
Yes, I absolutely agree. Yes.
Again, it was fine, Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm much better now. And I feel grateful for that experience too, because it taught me how to distinguish between, completely engrossing, entrapping myself and then not having a balance. So I just wanted, because someone said it's dissolving of your ego. So I just wanted the confirmation that what is that? But thank you so much. I do want to say something.
There are a lot of ego traps, Again, ego has its own traps. Spirituality has its own traps.
Yes.
And I'm going to cover a lot in the next 2 days. So you'll also understand how spirituality itself becomes a trap. So
okay. See, and you know what? I'm so glad you said that, because I have seen so many of your workshops, but the last couple of days have been phenomenal. I think bringing Marshall Rosenberg and nonviolent communication, I want to say from my experience, my relationships changed. They transformed once I read that book, once I understood, listen to understand, not react. Yeah. I have actually practiced that. So please, I would recommend it. I think half of our world's problems will solve if we just follow just a little bit from that book. Yes. It is life-changing. And thank you so much once again for this platform. I really appreciate it. Thanks to your team.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Yes.
Priyanka ji, please unmute.
So Marshall Rosenberg, the name of the book is Nonviolent Communication. That's the exact name of the book. Yeah.
Hi, Shreans. Thank you for your sessions, and especially for yesterday and today's session. Yesterday only, when we had a talk like non-violent communication, and then, I was totally in that mind, totally in that spirit. Just yesterday, one incident happened. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, and I had to deal with, people doing marketing things, social media, digital, and so many things. So with the related to the incident, I'll only talk. Like, the situation was not favorable. The person, like, I was a customer to that person in marketing field, and then what I was not liking, the way she was talking, the way she was texting and all that, I was very disturbed. Then I took a few deep breaths. Then I answered her very nicely. The situation closed. But then I dealt with the situation at that moment. But after that whole day, I was feeling so anxious. Like, it happens every time I'm dealing with the situation on the spot correctly. I close the situation in a very good light mood. But then after all, I have an impact. Then I ate endlessly. I was totally, disturbed. I was having headache. I talked to my husband also. He also tried to console me. But then again, it was hitting on my mind again and again. So at that time, you're not in that mind frame to sit and meditate. So what do you do in situations like these?
Yeah. So what happens is the ego loves that, right? Ego feels insecure. Now you reacted in you handle the situation in a very nice way, but ego wanted you to be angry or upset. Now you didn't feed that emotion, right? You didn't feed that emotion. Now ego feels because of the thoughts, you didn't release the right chemicals to make your ego comfortable. Now the ego wants still to create its drama now. So it is still making you anxious. But the beauty is, the more you're aware, no, this is my identification, and then snap out of it. Sometimes you're feeling like that. Do something. Go for a good massage. Play a game. Watch some funny movie. Play. Listen to some good music, whichever takes you into a right emotional state, right? So that you still don't feed that. The anxiousness will again feed that ego. Again, you release the same chemicals, so that then the ego will get comforted. But here, you let it not. You have to break that chain of pain. So initially, it might be a little discomforting, but then eventually that will become your natural state. So use the other tools. That time you may not be able to meditate. That's fine. But then, as I told you, do other things which makes you feel good. To distract yourself by other things. By better things. So by which puts you in a better emotional state. When you're in a right emotional state, then these things will automatically go. Right? Take a journal and write 10 things that you're grateful for in your life. The moment you complete and feel that gratefulness, if you really feel that gratefulness, then also the anxiety will be gone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Riptiji Jain.
We'll take that last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. And I am feeling so grateful that I come across this workshop. Like my experience is phenomenal. And I believe in all the stuff that you are delivering. While I came across one question, it might be a silly, right? If universe is giving all the good things it want to give, then why it inculcate the bad things in us? Why there is anger? Why there is resentment in us? If it is not that in us, then life would be easier, much easier than it is now. So I didn't get this answer.
So universe is, first thing is, it is law of attraction. The universe works on one principle, law of attraction. And that empowers you, right? That empowers you, that makes you to experience this three-dimensional reality. And that is a true empowerment. That with how you think, how you feel, you're creating your world around you. So the universe is not giving you anger. The universe is not giving you any of these negative emotions. It is our own emotional state. And then we draw situations corresponding to that emotional state. So it is all about law of attraction, but that makes it unique. And there's nothing negative about that negative emotion, though we commonly use the term negative emotion. But how will you imagine if there's only day, there's no night? How will you enjoy the day if there's no night? How will you enjoy the light if there's no darkness? How will you enjoy the darkness if there's no light? So these are this is the contrast which leads to our expansion, which makes it beautiful, which makes us grow and evolve. If everything is all hunky-dory, how will you ever grow? How will you evolve? Right? If to a child, why do you tell him to study? Why do you tell him to work hard and make your own money? Even if you're the richest person in the world, you still want your child to make his own living, right? You still want him to work hard and go through his schooling and go through his life challenges so that he grows. So all these things help us to grow and evolve. And these emotions are not negative. It is only directing you where your life is growing and where you do not want to go. Is it so? If you're going through those emotions, then you know that this is what I'm going to attract in my life. So this is just your emotions is a director. It is not negative or positive, but you can change the direction anytime. And the universe also gives us that power, right? God also gave us that power to transform that, which makes us so beautiful, which makes us so powerful. That is with the free will. That's where the free will comes in, right? We have a free will to transform it, to transcend it.
Okay. So it is somewhat like playing a game that universe is playing a game with, is putting the bad emotions and putting the good emotions in us. And we have to overcome it.
You are enjoying that game. It's just your game. It's a Leela, right?
Okay.
You are playing the game. So you are the director, you are the producer, and you are the actor. Everything is you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyans. It was wonderful, amazing session, and very clear. Again, very simple words, direct, and just very easy to understand. Hope we just let go everything and be in the present. So today you explained us beautiful about the complaining, resentments, grievances, and being right. And no projections, no separations, no expectations, no rejections, and no judgments. So just letting go everything, be in present, and breathe, and breathe. So we had a fantastic session from you. I mean, whatever you speak, maybe we may not remember 100, but yes, you are behind our minds always. and you're dominating us. So yes, there are two kinds of egoistics: those who admit it and rest of us. The things about ego is to seek to divide and separate, as you said, whereas the spirit seeks to unify and heal. Therefore, a bad day for your ego is a great day for your soul. Silence your ego and listen to your soul.
Lovely, lovely,
So,
awesome.
yes.
When what the ego rejoice,
Yes.
what the ego when the ego feels the pain in what it has lost, the
Yes.
soul rejoice in what it has found.
Yes.
Lovely.
So nice. Very beautiful session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, all my SDF community. Thank you so much for being there, giving us so much of your time, and just making these energies so blissful. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Loads of gratitude to you, Shreans. Thank you. Thank you for being
all
a
of you.
master.
Thank you. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Thank you.